This is how I expect Bitcoin to behave in the upcoming 2 months. And yes, this chart will become reality on the month 36 of this bull market. This current 4-year cycle started in November 2022 when the Bitcoin price fell below $16,000. Since then, Bitcoin exploded in price together with Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin alone went more than 500%. And right now we have the final phase of the bull market. Bitcoin is going to do one final leg up before going into 2026 bear market. I expect Bitcoin to reach at least $150,000, which means that from the current standpoint, we're going to go up by at least 38%. Some altcoins going to explode 50 to 60 or even 70%. And if you watch this video up until the end, I will tell you the exact time frame when you should be looking for longs. Now, this monthly candle is currently green, but it might close in red if Bitcoin will go into its weekly cycle lows, which is due for the end of September. But this is totally fine. Even if this candle closes in red, we're still gonna be in this position right here. This is a bullish position. If we go at the bottom of the chart, we can see that the 2-week cycle indicator is currently going to the bottom, and it needs about 1 to 2 weeks to actually go below 20. And below 20, it is our buy zone. Every single time when this indicator goes below 20, I'm gonna switch the weekly chart right now, cryptocurrency market alongside with Bitcoin goes up. You can see here's 20, we go up. Here is also 20, we went up. Here's 20, we go up, and the same pattern happened multiple times before. Why? Because the 2-week cycle simply shows the weekly cycle end for Bitcoin. And you can see a weekly cycle usually takes between 21 to 31 weeks, sometimes even less than that. Now we are due for a weekly cycle low before we actually explode further. This is the current situation. So if you are holding Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, you just need patience of at least a couple of weeks. Every single bull market tends to take about 35 to 36 months, and I expect the current bull market to end in November 2025 with a blow of top above $150,000. This might be one of the last opportunities to actually make huge gains in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, because the next year will be bear market. Now, we don't know how bad it will be, but anyways, bear market is not the time to be allocated in the market. As we can see from the previous market, we might fall 75 or even 90% down because we have institutions, we have businesses buying Bitcoin. I don't think that we're going to have such a brutal bear market, but there is a very high chance that we're going to go down by 40 or even 50 or even 60%. Now, looking at the weekly chart, I wanted to show you two things. Currently, we're looking for the weekly cycle lows. And both indicators, the 1-week and the 2-week cycle, they're very close to 20. In fact, the weekly cycle already started to go up and bounced from 20, as we can see in these 3 last weekly candles. However, this might not be the end of the weekly cycle because we had 2 very similar situations before. One of them happened in March 2025 or February 2025, when we actually made a low. We thought it's the final low, but the weekly cycle started to go up just to reverse back down and make an ultimate cycle low. And again, 2 weekly cycle was the perfect indicator for the bottom. Now, many people are anticipating the bottom and many people are buying right now, but the 2-week cycle, this blue line right here, is still not below 20. It's still not showing the bottom. That's why you might want to have patience of 1, 2, or up to even 3 weeks. In case Bitcoin falls to 105, 106, 107K, this is the area to start looking for longs, not only for Bitcoin, but also for altcoins, because this will be the final bottom before we actually explode to the upside. And the upside will be perfect. If we manage to go back to $107,000, $106,000 and then go to 150K, we will make over 40% return. 40% in 1 month. This is an awesome return. If you didn't make much money with crypto this year, this is the best opportunity to enter the market on the right time. If you want to get access to all these cycle indicators, all you have to do, you go to strategymaster.io. Here you will find all my cycle indicators plus articles where I talk about how to use the cycles, where are we right now in the cycle, what kind of price I expect for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I even show some of my trades where I buy and I sell using the cycle indicators. I also apply additional indicators like the small moving average, which shows that, hey, did we start a new cycle or we are still in the old cycle? And I do price prediction based on cycles. If all this information is new for you and you simply want to learn, go to this website, get a free subscription right here. If you want to use those indicators yourself, you have to get a paid subscription, which is very cheap, $49 a month, and you will have exactly the same information that I have for trading. You're going to have access to all these indicators down there and even more. And just in a moment, we're going to speak about the daily cycles. One of the last articles I published where I discussed the 60-day cycle bottoms. Bitcoin moves in 60-day cycles, and every 60 days it makes a bottom. Right here, I predicted that Bitcoin will fall to around 107K area, and that's what I still expect from BTC. Now, if you use the daily, the 3-day, the 1-week, or the 2-week cycle indicators, you can clearly paint the picture which direction the price is moving and when we potentially have a local bottom. We also have a premium community where we mostly focus on altcoins, we short, we long altcoins, and we make 10 to 20% returns per trade. This is pretty normal in crypto, especially if you have access to the cycle indicators. You know when you actually want to long the market, you know when you want to stay outside of the market. You don't have to second guess anymore. You don't have to follow politics, follow crypto Twitter, and do anything like that. You simply use the cycle indicators to make the powerful decisions in the market and make money. Now, one thing is still worth mentioning is the time-based capitulation. Sometimes Bitcoin doesn't have these violent moves down at the end of the cycle. We have 2 daily cycles from 2023 where Bitcoin just made 4 red candles, but it didn't drop more than 6%. Here, it dropped 5.22, and here it dropped 5.72%. Both of these situations happen at the end of weekly cycle. The same cycle that we are actually right now, we are at the end of the weekly cycle. The 1-week cycle indicator is below 20, and the 2-week cycle indicator is also going below 20, but it's still around 30. This is exactly the same situation that we have right now. Now, in case this happens, you will not see any further downside, and Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies will simply explode to the upside. Then we'll have one more higher low, and this is where you want to buy. This is the time to buy. All of a sudden, it will go up by one very quick move up. You don't want to miss that moves. You want to get these bottoms. You want to understand when these bottoms actually happen. How can you detect them? To understand that, you have to get access to the small time frame strategy. Again, if you want to get access to it, you have to go to strategymaster.io, get a subscription right here, $49. You can just test it for 1 month, see if it's something for you. You get a subscription, you come back to TradingView, and you put all these indicators plus these buy and sell signals provided by the small time frame strategy. Once you have this strategy on your TradingView, you will see these beautiful green stripes. These are the buying zones. Now, if you want to have signals, you simply have to activate the strategy simply by clicking visible. And here you're also going to have the buy entry signals. And as you can see, after each signal, we start pumping up. If Bitcoin, or in this case Ethereum, is bullish, you simply go up. Now, sometimes it's bearish and you don't want to get allocated. How can you know whether it's bullish or bearish? You simply put the 1-week cycle indicator on the screen. If this indicator is already at the top, above 80, you really don't want to allocate much of your capital. If it's falling, you simply don't want to take buy signals. You want to short the market. And if it's going up, like it's doing here, you simply want to take every single small time frame strategy signal or every single signal when most of these cycles go below 20. These green stripes are the perfect opportunities to enter the market. Right now, we are waiting for a very similar situation which we had in June 2025. We basically went down, made a cycle bottom, and from there we started pumping up. We're gonna have a very similar situation, and this strategy is going to catch the bottom. We had one buy signal just 4 days ago, and we went up by 3%. If you apply some leverage, 3, 4, 5 weeks, you made over 10% return. We are now at the very end of the 60-day cycle and in the very end of the weekly cycle. As you can see by this diagram right here, we are waiting for the bottom. Once the bottom is here, we're gonna enter the market once again. Now, I am sure that next week we are going to bounce once again. Whether it will be an absolute bottom, I don't really know. I really would love to have this kind of move where Ethereum and Bitcoin would go down. I would definitely enter the market there and I would simply go up. And hey, I don't have to second guess. I don't have to think whether it's going to move or not. I'm simply going to wait, set an alert on TradingView, and wait until I get a signal or this beautiful green stripe that will tell me, hey, now it's time to enter. If you want to join the community of cycle trader investors, you simply have to subscribe for the Strategy Master Plan. If you're new to the cycles and you're thinking whether this is something for you, I recommend getting a free subscription and reading every single newsletter where I time altcoin bottom, where I talk about how the cycles actually affect the price and how you can make the most amount of money using cycle indicators. Thank you for the video. Don't forget, this is what is awaiting Bitcoin. You don't want to miss this. You want to get in the roller coaster ride before it actually goes up, and see you in the next one.